Okay, so now for the balance sheet. The balance sheet, unlike the other two, is for a single spot in time. It's for a single date. You'll notice when I date this, I'm not going to date it for month ended. I'm going to say a single date, December 31st, 2017, because the types of accounts that are on here are real accounts, and you can't give a time frame for it. So, for example, the first account we put over here, the first type of account we put over here, my assets. Right? Well, the first account of my assets is cash. Is there any way for you to tell me how much cash was in your bank account for the 2 months ended December 31st, 2017? You can't. You can only tell me what it is on the end of that date, because the balance of that account changes, right? So in these accounts, the income statement accounts, they generally are accounts that flow into the business and really only go one direction, whereas the accounts on the balance sheet usually are showing balances of real things like assets and liabilities and equity. So this is for a single date and time, not for a time frame. So assets. I have my current assets, which is anything except for my fixed assets. So I'll label this current assets. And that would be cash, accounts receivable. It'd be all the top assets. How you move from current to long-term assets, at least for now, is when it gets into fixed assets like land, equipment, that kind of thing. Those are going to be my long-term assets. It does get more complicated than that, but for now, that's sufficient to differentiate in that way. So current asset, cash. Again, I'm going to the adjusted balances. Excuse me. And then I need my cumulative depreciation, which is a credit balance. So it's actually a negative number because it's a contra asset. So I can do my total current assets and subtotal these. All I'm doing is adding up all these assets. My total, what they call property, plant, and equipment. So it could be called fixed assets. We'll call lots of different things. Separate this out just so it's visually easier to read. So my total PP&E I could sum them all, or they actually subtotal without the land because the land doesn't depreciate, which is fine too. I'm fine with doing it either way. So now I can find my total assets, which is going to be all my current assets plus all my PP&E. 29,495. Now, to make this a little easier to see on my screen here, I'm going to go ahead and build my spreadsheet next to each other rather than up and down, just because it gets to be really tiny. So I'm going to go ahead and take my liabilities over here. I'm not doing anything different than the book does. I'm just putting it next to it rather than putting it up and down. So liabilities, I'm going to go back over my trial balance upon my liabilities. Got these three. Okay, so we've got accounts payable, wages payable, and unearned rent. I need to go find the adjusted balances for those three, which is 900, 250, and 240. So now I can find my total liabilities. Now we're not doing it yet. There will be a point where we separate long-term and short-term liabilities. For now, we only have short-term liabilities, so I can just total up the liabilities by themselves in one single area. Now I can do my equity section, stockholders' equity section. This would start with common stock, would also include retained earnings. Oops. meant to do the word common stock, not the common stock amount. Sorry. Common stock. I use the adjusted amount of 25,000. Now, retained earnings I can't get from the trial balance because what I did was the retained earnings on trial balance is actually the beginning balance because nothing has happened to it. I need to get the current balance in that. Well, I only know the current balance based on this number right here. So again, I had to make this other financial statement in order to get the information for the current financial statement. And that is that the retained earnings, and it's going to come from up there. So retained earnings, 3105. Then I've got, so now I can find my total stockholders' equity. That just will be plus common stock plus retained earnings. So now I should be able to find my total liabilities plus stockholders' equity. And if this is done correctly, it should equal the same as my total assets because the accounting equation must always balance. So total liabilities plus total stockholders' equity. And I do, I balance, so I've done that correctly. Next video, we're going to talk about closing. So this is your financial statements. You have to create them in order. It just makes it easiest if you create them in order. Income statement first, then statement of retained earnings, and the balance sheet, because we use the net income on our statement of retained earnings and we use the ending retained earnings on our balance sheet. So it is the simplest way to do it if you create them in that order. The next, and I think it probably the only other one for this chapter is going to be on closing entries. So if you have any questions, as always, let me know, email me.